Okay guys, in today's video we're going to go back in depth into the routers and their operation. We're going to be concentrating on a Netgear N300 and its initial from plug-in and its setup, and then we'll look at its operation with Wireshark. In this particular example, I'm going to be feeding the Netgear N300's internet source coming from the home router here, and it's going to be set up so that the internet connection the home router gives it is more or less a raw internet connection where all the ports are open. It's called DMZ mode, and I'll get into that. But the first thing that we're going to do is get into this device here and set it up to give it a like I said, a non-filtered version of the internet, because it's designed to have to be okay with seeing the raw internet. So we don't want a double firewall it here for no reason. But anyway, once we get into that and get it all set up, we'll go back and concentrate on this. Just go over this. The internet service provider, Kinetic, is coming in with fiber, and then this is the modem that changes the fiber over to Ethernet, and I got a 1 gig connection here to the Cisco here. Anyway, let me get a little bit more in detail for the Cisco to the Netgear. On the Cisco gateway here, like I said, I'm going to be reserving the IP address for the Netgear to this .99, and also setting it for DMZ mode. And you can see our difference in networks here. We got 168.2 and 168.1 with subnet mask, where they're essentially on different networks, if you will. Now, this is the little instructions that Google gave when I did the initial search. And next thing I want to do is go into the web page here of the setup. But I wanted, before I went in here, I wanted to go over something that was one of the hardest things to get across when you're doing initial teaching of the internet and those kind of things about how things work. And that is keeping people's eye on where information is sourced from. Not where they're seeing it at, but where does it originate from. So I want to reaffirm this real quick with this example of, if I'm using the program Notepad, and I have the Notepad program pulled up here on my screen, that entire thing, all the graphics and everything that's going on in here, is being originated and created from my local C drive here, my hard drive, with a program that's running on it. Everything is self-contained here, but what I'm seeing in my display is coming from here. Now let's go to the next state, which is the one that always drives people crazy, which is now I'm bringing up a web page, and I'm looking at Google. And when you're looking at Google here on the screen, and you're seeing the flowers and the colors of the Google, and you're seeing the text and the graphics of the search box here with the search box and all the other things that you see here. What you're looking at here is not being created where you're at. What you're seeing here on your screen, the letters and all of this, is being originated from a server that belongs to Google, and it could be in Texas, wherever. They got them all over now, but we're just going to say San Jose for the mothership here. But it's essentially like you had a very long extension cable for your monitor, and you're looking at on your monitor something that's originating over here. Now your computer does get involved, your local hard drive, in the sense it helps this transition from going across the internet and reconfiguring it back and putting it back on the screen here with the local drivers, et cetera, et cetera. But essentially, all the intelligence for this screen is coming from San Jose, not from your local computer. Now let's go to the third situation that we're going to deal with here, which is when you're dealing with a device that has an embedded web page. So if I go over to my my login here for the router, and then I look side by side with Google, it's difficult to convince people sometimes that when you're looking at this page, you're looking at something that's being originated from the little box that's right next to you. It has the ability to create this, all the graphics here with the logo, the Kinetic logo, and the login and the functionality of you're entering your password and all this. And it seems like, well, there must be some kind of magical thing going on somewhere else. It's not. All of this is being originated inside this box, stored on a memory chip inside it. And it has the ability to make you think that it's just like Google over here in San Jose, but it's not. It's right here next to you. So just try and keep that in mind, that anytime you're looking at either a web page or any kind of display, where is the source of this information? So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the setup over here, and we'll go ahead and log in and go over the couple settings we need to adjust. They're pretty quick. All right. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to come over here in our options, and we're going to go network settings, and we're going to go to home networking, and we're going to come over here, and the first one is your LAN setup, and you can see this is where I would set up what range IP address my local area network coming off the Zixel, whatever, however they pronounce their name, box. But what I'm looking for is the static DHCP. And what this is that this is telling my modem here, my modem / router, that for this particular address, and it has this MAC address. This is the MAC address of the little router there, the little Netgear router, that I want this one to have this address reserved. So anytime it logs in to get a DHCP, it's going to go ahead and give it .99. So that's the first thing that I have to set up. And then once I get that set, then I can go over to the NAT screen and come over here to DMZ. And now I can come in here and enter that same address to be the port that is going to get the raw internet output feed to it. This is something that you wouldn't want to ever hook up to a normal computer, because it's not meant to be without a firewall like that. But the Netgear router is designed for it, so that's not a problem. But anyway, these are the two things you need to change, and these could be in various spots on whatever version of router you have, and they kind of change the names around a little bit, funny wording, but you'll find essentially the same thing on yours. But once you're done, that's all you got to do, and then you're good to go to hook up or finish. I already have it hooked up because it was able to see it. But once you have it hooked up, now you can go back over to the Netgear and start the configuration of it. So we'll go ahead and transition now over to the Netgear. Okay, we're here at the Netgear, and before we get into the programming here, I want to go over the adapter settings for the Ethernet to make sure that that's all switched over like it should be. Now before, when we were doing the previous setup, we had it set for a static IP address that looks like this in your properties. And if you come over to your command prompt and you do an IP config all for it, you see we don't have it. We have no default gateway, and we don't have DHCP enabled, and all we have is just our plain IP address. So, and if we try, and even though we are currently connected to the router, you can see we got a 100 meg connection there. We can't actually talk to it. If we come over here and try and ping it, it'll have a failure. So, because it's just out of the address range for 172 thing, you can't even attempt to ping it. So let's make the changes on here to make that correct. And all we're going to have to do is come up here and go obtain the IP address automatically, obtain the DNS server automatically. We'll go OK, and we'll go close, and it'll reset the controller over here on the Ethernet, and then it's already given us a connectivity of internet access, and it's hooked up to the Netgear 87. So that's the process it does, and we'll look at that through Wireshark here in a little bit. But anyway, now that we're connected, we can actually come up to the login screen here, and remember, this is we're logging into the little piece of equipment over here. It's got a fake pretend like it's a website, but it's just inside a little chip inside the box. But we're going to come over here and we're going to go enter and go ahead and log in. We'll do an admin. And once we get in, I generally just come over to the advanced tab. And this is it's got a pretty good little advanced home snapshot look here. You can see I got both the Wi-Fi and the guest turned off because I'm just using Ethernet. I'm not broadcasting anything. And showing my connection up here for my internet port. This is that .2.99 that we had reserved on the Zixel, and we're going to do the gateway for that is the Zixel LAN gateway there. Now when it comes to all of the different settings, each one of these tabs is kind of a self-explanatory kind of thing, and what I would highly recommend is to go through each one at a time, and side by side using the user manual, read, just kind of get a kind of overview of what's going on. The more screen time you get with all of these things, the better it is. This is one of the simplest routers there are out there, and this is the simplest possible really configuration you can have. And just within this is so much that you should give yourself the grace of spending months, if not longer, however long it takes, to linger in this world until you get really comfortable with all of these different things here, because everything after this is just bizarro complex, and there's it is so ridiculously easy to get lost because all these people have this passionate interest in these things that they're clubs within clubs, and it takes so long to even to be in that, and I'm so tired of that on the YouTube, to where everything they show is just, it looks fantastic and incredible, but it's nothing that I'm ever going to touch, and it's nothing that I see all day long. It's like, why don't they talk about stuff that everybody can have, and everybody's seeing all day long? But anyway, each one of these is got its own little parts to it. The Wi-Fi part of it is just a completely its own thing, and all of these different about the security options and all those things are like 5 videos a piece. It just goes infinite complexity in each directions. But the cool thing about these simple ones is that they're ready to go out the box. As soon as you unbox it and plug it in and give it an internet connection, it's off to the races. And the Wi-Fi will come up. You'll connect to it. It'll give you DHCP. It'll do everything like right away, right out the box. So there's almost no setup to it whatsoever. But it's if you're going to ever want to learn how it works, you're going to have to dig deeper. So let's real quick. Let's do this. Let's unplug the Ethernet cable after we log out here, and we're going to let it sit, and we're going to come up back over here over Wireshark, and we're going to reload Wireshark. And when we plug in, we're going to see the little talking back and forth that the computer and the router does. Now, they were just recently talking to each other, so when I plug it in, it's not going to do near as much as it would if it was a totally brand new, and they had never spoken to each other, and it never had assigned it previously an IP address. But it still will do some significant stuff here, so let's just take a look what happens when we plug in. And it'll go through this little thing here, and I'll go ahead and stop it. Well, before I stop it, let me say this. I love Wireshark, and it's an incredible tool. But the fact of the matter is that if you ever go to try and use it, and you plug into like what we are right now, which is real internet, and if I started running web pages and stuff here, you would see these things just go absolutely nutso. And the amount of variety of different communications it does, it just normally, when it's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, is enough to say, well, this is just too much. I don't know what's going on here. So this is one of these deals where you just got to realize, well, there's just a lot of stuff going on out there that I don't know about. So and don't get too weirded out by the fact that there's so much going on that's above your knowledge. Just kind of ignore it and say, well, I'll look at it later. That doesn't keep you from doing the simple stuff and getting around it and not being intimidated. So let's go all the way back up here to number 1 and have a look. And this very first one was the laptop here that I'm recording on, sending a broadcast message out for DHCP requests. Basically telling the world, hey man, I don't really have an IP address. If there's anybody out there that can hook me up, let me know. And it Also, right after that, it did another. This is a good example of a kind of bizarre request where it is want to see 1.3, and then let's go down here. Here's another one where it's it wants to know who's got 1.1. It says, I see, the 1.3, it was asking because it wants to assume 1.3's identity. And it comes over here and it says, hey, who's 1.1? And here's the Netgear answering it, saying, hey, I got 1.1. And then now here we are, we're doing the DNS request. And let's see here. And it's going to, this is it's doing, here we go, Microsoft NCSI. And then it's getting a response back. So basically, this is from the previous video here where you're, it's finding out whether it has an internet connection or not. So it can change the NCSI. But anyway, I didn't want to go too much in detail on this because it can just be overwhelming when you're first starting, and I don't want to, burn people out. Just kind of want to entice you to look at it for yourself. But you can look at all this stuff here, the standard stuff, and then when it later on gets into the more complicated. So if I come over here, for example, so it's right now running, and if I come over here and I do like a Google, and you see I went to Bing looking for Google. Well, all of that data coming across. Well, here, let me start it over again because I wasn't capturing at the time. That wasn't real smart. But let's try that again. I want to do over here, so I'll redo it again, and we captured, and there's a great thing. So let's stop right there. And if you look at all of this stuff here with all of these 443s, this is all typical like real website traffic. And just a few seconds worth of talking to Google creates a huge amount of packets. So it's easy to get lost in the weeds and to have these things, and that's where they get into the filters and where you can sort things so that you don't have to get lost in all the weeds, and you can get around it. So let's just finish it off by taking a look back at the command prompt now, and we're going to do the IP config all again. And this time when we have a look at it, we'll see that, hey, we got an IP address of 0.3. We now have a default gateway. We have a DHCP server and a DNS server. So we're rolling in it there. And if I come over here and if I ping, let's see if I can, it's always the other direction. And now I should be able to ping my gateway there and now communicating. So this is a great way of showing you what that DHCP and DNS server does. Okay. All right. Well, I hope this helps, and we'll talk to you soon.